pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Read the minutes from the last meeting. Those present were Fred Farley, Jody Price, John Pfeiffer, Pam Van Hook, and Toby Jans. The minutes from the May 12th meeting were read and approved, and also the festival minutes were read and approved. Andy gave his water, wastewater, and street report. In addition, Mr. Farley went on record to thank Mr. Emmert for all of the work and time he is putting into working out the issues with Endeavor Communications in connection with their project in town. Andy gave his building commissioner report. Murray Dixon had a code enforcement report, reported that he had been contacting residents regarding various issues. Under Robin's clerk report, she reported to the council that she and Mr. Emmert are going over utility supply bills in order to bill CSU for damages incurred while they were installing fiber optic lines for Endeavor Communications thus far. In addition, she asked the council to pursue ordinance enforcement on the utility customer who is disposing of fats and oils improperly, as this is very costly to the town. Ms. Cunningham will look into the local ordinances and proceed appropriately. Under old business, ordinance number 05-2015-02 was passed unanimously, with Mr. Pfeiffer making the motion and Mrs. Price seconding. Under new business, the CDBG, the council unanimously voted to opt out of the Hamilton County Community Development Block Grant Program. That's a mouthful. In order to pursue and be eligible for larger grants, Mr. Pfeiffer made the motion and Mrs. Price seconded. And other new business, Keith Harrison attended the meeting and asked the council if anything could be done regarding the local ordinance which prohibits pet rabbits in town. After a brief discussion, council members agreed that the ordinance stands and will not be amended at this time. Mr. Harrison kindly understood and will make other arrangements for his rabbits. With no further business to discuss, the claims were signed and the meeting adjourned. Are there any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion to accept as read.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Andy.
All right, under water, the plant street 686,220 gallons of water since May 26th. Our average daily usage is 49,015. Filters were backwashed on June 5th. The May water report's complete, has been submitted to IDEM. Our June back T-test is complete, and someone broke into the house at 315 South Railroad and turned the water on. The water's been flooding the house since January 23rd at a rate of 5,940 gallons a day, which totaled 765,951 gallons of water has been flooded into that house. I've since removed the meter. I got with Robin. I did do a police report on it, incident report on it with Officer Neese. So we got a case number for that. We originally turned that water off and finalized that bill on June 23rd of 14. Basically what I did to come up with the January 23rd, we only store 96 days of information in our meter, but I audited the meter and then broke that daily read down and backdated it to the 23rd since it was beyond that. About 120 days of usage there. The read when the people moved out was 11,028, and the current read was 77,7033. So, like I said, over 700, almost 766,000 gallons. I've got the meter in my office now. The house has been heavily vandalized inside. These kids were, I think, me personally, I think there's adult involved. I mean, that's a hard meter to find back there anyways, where it's at in the yard. I mean, it's not near the house, it's not even next to the house, it's way away. So someone had to know where that meter was at to do this. So even if there was kids involved in this whole thing, I still think there was an adult involved. And I've taken the meter out and I put a lock on the valve in there. But the house is destroyed, and I'm going to get into a little bit more of that in my building commissioner report. You know, I figured that up by looking on our rate chart. You know, that most people in town don't even use 5,900 gallons a month, let alone in a day. If you broke that down into monthly bills, that's $24,000. And they plugged up the sinks with rags. Some of them had some plant stuffed in them, and what had happened, who knows when, like they took a potted plant and shoved it in the drain. There's so much water running. The ones that had the rags on it were overflowing, but then the ones with the dirt, it washed out. So on top of that, you know, that water, a lot of that water was going in the sewer. I don't know how much, but some of it was. And then moving on, surface restoration from the water repairs on Central Street's been completed. Under wastewater, I've been performing daily checks at lift stations, the ponds, and the SSO during rain events. We had one false alarm at the lift station. Everything was working properly. Sewer plant's closed and we're not discharging. The weekly sewer samples are complete. We replaced 3 floats at the lift station and installed new relays. We also installed a new ground wire, and we're going to have to replace some of the wiring in that here at some point. It's been overloaded several times in the past, and it's been overheated so many times it's causing corrosion. That was one of the problems with the ground. We're getting the bad ground to one of the pumps, so it wasn't running right. And then MK Betts was going to start their mobilization tomorrow. They came out and met with me on site today, and then they're actually going to begin construction on Monday at the sewer plant. Under streets, we've rebuilt the sprayer for the Massey Ferguson, and I'm going to be spraying weeds this week. And then I've got a quote from Ron Hammock for trimming all the trees and all the alleys, removing 2 dead trees here in town, the town right away, grinding the stumps out, and also clearing the trees and the brush around the drive at the sewer plant, cutting 1 tree down at the entrance of the sewer plant, and going 6 feet down off the road and wiping that out all the way around that thing, and down at the north end also, and then trimming all those trees back at the in the drive to the water plant for a total of $3,500, which I think is pretty reasonable for the amount. I'd like to get your approval to have that done. We're not going to have time to get it done. We got alleys here you can't even drive a pickup truck down, let alone a fire truck. And so you know, we did get one of our weed liens back. It was a big one on this house down on Railroad. That was over $3,000 that we got back on that, you know, that mow lien. So I think you know want to check with Robin first, confer with her, but we should have those funds available just in what we've recouped from mows and cleans on properties. But if we have it and it's okay, I'd like to get it done. And then just miscellaneous, the pot's been rearranged and planted out here on Main Street. That's done. And then we've had some more vandalisms to the dugouts, the ball diamond, and I don't know, we may want to consider getting a surveillance system out there for that facility. You know, you can get some pretty sophisticated ones for under $1,000, which I know is a significant investment, but I've looked at some that are in the $600 to $800 range. I mean, they're infrared. They've got 2 terabyte hard drives on them, so maybe we can record just thousands and thousands of hours of video, day or night. You know, with as many poles and stuff are out there. Some of them are wired, some of them are wireless. I mean, we can pretty much cover the whole facility all the time. And put a sign up at the entranceway, let people know, you know, that it's under surveillance. But 2 of those dugouts, they've like destroyed them. They've kicked just a million holes in them, beat them with a bat or whatever they did. And that was just in between us going out there for mows, you know. So just something to think about. And then moving on to building. Had one building permit renewed, one building permit issued, one zoning inquiry, one building permit inquiry. The May census report has been completed. And I am in the process of deeming the house down here at 315 South Railroad unsafe for habitation under Atlanta's Unsafe Building Code. It's 151.60 if you want to read it. It's my recommendation to the town council that we secure the property by boarding it up and move to have the property demolished. Through unsafe building practices, decay, water, storm damage, the structure's unsafe. That addition and part of that second story was built on top of the garage roof years ago, and the garage roof's barely strong enough to hold itself up. And there are areas that may collapse in the near future where it meets that garage. And then I've also enlisted the help of the Hamilton County Health Department, who's preparing a report based on their inspection. They came out yesterday, and it's basically going to state that the house is unsafe for habitation. I mean, there's mushroom growing out of the carpet. The place is absolutely covered in mold. The ceilings are caving in. The floors are all caving in and buckled up. And
Is there a new owner to that?
no.
Is that still Nick?
The bank hasn't taken possession of it. I mean, it's in the bankruptcy. Nick is still listed at the county. I was going to call Indiana Members Credit Union just to see if they were the lien holder. They have the dental clinic, which they've already taken possession of. But the other two properties at this point here in town.
What's the address for this house?
It's 315 South Railroad. It's one that people have complained about before that had some damage, storm damage when the tornado came through. Wasn't fixed.
It's the same house that people broke into and
Oh yeah,
got the water.
that's the same house. I mean, it's stuff spray painted everywhere, walls kicked in. Like I said, I mean, there's mushrooms growing out of the carpet in this place and out of the walls, and it's just covered. And, I mean, there's rotted wood everywhere, and the roof. The roof not only from the water, the flooding damage, even it still hadn't dried out. And we were in there yesterday. It's been about a week since I pulled the water meter. I mean, you squish on the carpet everywhere you go.
No, it's not going to dry out.
And it's bad in there, but what they did, they took a sledgehammer or something, and they beat the back door in into the garage. But my suggestion is, which is going to cost us a little bit of money, but instead of using 1/2 inch, I want to get 3/4 inch plywood and board up all the windows on the first floor, board up all the doors on the first floor, and secure that thing. Because the kids, they've been going in and out, and if you look at the report, I mean, they've even been messing on the meter. I mean, the flow is constant, but you can see where it's going down, or somebody's been there like messing with the faucet, and it was 4 or 5 days later, they're back and cranked it back up again. And it was, running faster and slower. But what's in that really bad part of the house, that upstairs bathroom, has had the water running all this time leaking. Plus the roof is leaking above it, so the ceiling's caving in. But that's where part of that second floor of that house is supported by that garage roof, where that garage used to be separate from the house. And it's only 2x6s. They're spanning over 20 feet, 2 foot on center, and then have the house sitting on them. But it's all rotted. The plywood is all molded up. It's bad. I don't know how long the whole process will take, but and the house on top of that, I didn't go under the house where the crawl space been open. That house has had termites in it. There's termite traps around the outside of it, but that thing is just a mess all around. I mean, there's numerous things in our unsafe building ordinance that we can cite them all in that thing, but it needs to go.
Aaron, is there any way, I know Andy mentioned boarding these things, we're gonna have some expense involved with that. Is there any way to recoup any of that cost via liens or?
We can attach a lien, and when you don't have an owner who has money, that's your option. You attach it, and it'll sit there like a property lien until somebody buys it. And so if we wind up demoing the building, whoever buys that lot would have to pay that, and so we'll get it back. It's just a matter of how long is it going to take to get the money.
And the one thing it board this up that I'm going to do is save us some money. All that trash that's in the yard, I'm throwing it in the garage. Shut the door and lock the place up. I mean, there's siding, there's junk, there's lumber, there's tires, there's all kinds, which I know Murray has sent notification out on and just got, and,
Is that one we're mowing yet?
oh yeah, we mowed it last year. Yeah, we're
We
into
got
it for
liens on that.
probably 10 or 12 mows, I don't know, I'd have to look at my chart.
How about, we gather up all the costs so far as the liens, as far as the mowing and maintenance and cleaning and everything that the town's got against the property at this present time?
I think Robin has filed some of those already.
Okay.
This year's haven't been, but last year's I think she filed already.
How about if we get a total of all that, we get the report from the county health department stating it's unsafe, you write up a report, find out what bank that is, and contact the bank, and try to set up an appointment to meet with the representative of the mortgage company that has it and have them to come out and look at the condition of that bank. They may just write it off and say, you can just have it and then demo it. And that would save us money of boarding it up and then turn around. I know there was a house in Arcadia that was a similar situation, and the bank actually had some kind of a hold on the mortgage to the lady instead of it going into foreclosure, and the lady was still held accountable for it, but yet the bank couldn't do anything or wouldn't do anything, and then it came to the end, to a point where the bank just signed a deed over to that lady and wiped the deed clean, the lien that was on it, just to get out from underneath all the issues on the property. And that might be the case with this one. If you were to meet with a representative from the bank and they see the condition, they might just write it off, and if that's the case, have them write it off and deed it to the town. We'll go in there and bulldoze it down and turn around and put it up for sale to recoup our money for demo on it.
Well, Amy, I haven't talked to her about that, but she was telling me, like when I mentioned to her about Carl's house, she said that it's pretty easy to get a grant to tear a house down. So that may be another possibility.
Yeah,
Maybe if it comes to that, the bank doesn't
And depending on,
want to do anything. The bank may take care of it. I don't know.
I'm sure if you can get through to someone, a representative from some of these banks, depending on the situation at hand, this is going to be a foreclosure, it's in bankruptcy, they know they ain't going to get paid out their mortgage, and they know it's unsafe conditions, and you write up your report, Hamilton County Health Department writes up their report, and the mold and the health issues involved in it, they might just say, we don't want it. It's going to cost them more to try and do something with that property to get it safe or demoed in order for them to sell it if they do get it back in foreclosure. So they ain't going to want to mess with it, is my guess. And that, it's town lot.
Isn't that what happened on the house just down on Railroad, that they had mortgage on that, and finally they just gave it back to the people, and then they tried to sell it again?
No, they just sold it. That's when we got our weed lien back on.
That one did sell.
They gave away one mortgage was forgiven, but there was the second mortgage that was still on it, and now they finally just sold that house.
But that house was in decent shape as far as being able to salvage it. This one here is just beyond
But
repair.
if they're ready to forgive one loan because it's even livable, the bank doesn't want something like that.
That's what I'm thinking. If we can make contact with a representative of the mortgage company and have them to come out and look at this property, they may just write it off and say, write the mortgage off and tell it, turn it over to the town for demo and whatever.
I assume there is a mortgage on it, isn't there?
I don't know.
Well, that's why I asked for the address, so we can go look and see if there's a mortgage recorded.
I'm sure there
Because
is.
we'll have to do notice to the title owner and whoever has a mortgage lien in order to demo it.
Sure.
So that way
Okay.
I should have that answer by the next meeting to tell you exactly who's got it and then we'll know who we need to deal with.
Okay. Anything else, Andy?
We'll probably do.
Do you want me to wait and board it up then? That's all I want to know. I don't care.
I think,
Maybe go in there and maybe board up the doors like you were talking, put some 2x4 or something across the doorways or something where they'd have to make an effort to climb through the windows or something to
Yeah,
get in,
gonna
and maybe
stop
they'd
them.
get seen for the present time. And I hate to put a bunch of money into plywood, board it up, and then turn around and
I would just
tear
wait
it all down
instead of,
if something like that was to happen.
You can't tear it up anymore than it already is, right?
Yeah, they've already been in there.
Yeah, can't tear it up more, so.
Somebody goes in there and gets hurt, or is the town covered for something like that? I mean,
Not
it's-
ours.
Yeah,
not
it's not our property.
Okay, so I mean, we don't have to worry about no lawsuits of,
No.
see somebody to get hurt anyway.
Well, we shouldn't go in there, too.
Sure.
That's all I have. Unless you have any questions?
Children, only dogs.
Back to the street.
Did Melissa's house, does anybody know? Or you haven't done it now?
Will Dog Specs owns that,
No, but he doesn't own it.
next door to Devers.
He doesn't own it. He doesn't own it.
You got something
They
tied
got-
up
there's,
in it.
yeah, there's that, I forget who owns, there's a company that bought it.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, they mow it and stuff. I can't, Robin's got their information. Yeah.
What were you gonna ask? Back to the, street department stuff. I'd like to make a motion that we approve that $3,500 for that cleanup, if, the money's available. With the cleanup and everything and the lien money we got, it should be there. I've been out sewage plant, that's getting overgrown, and you know we're getting ready to start that project, so they're gonna be having equipment in and out there, and it's getting worse, growing clear up the edge of the road, and then with all this other work, $3,500.
It's pretty decent.
Seems like a good
I'd love to be out over here this evening.
Did you?
Yeah, it's-
It's
I
pretty
haven't
bad.
been up there for a while. Is
Oh,
that,
it is?
is that farmer's tree still up over out of the way? Up here on the,
Oh, he cleaned them up.
oh, did it? I haven't been up there for a long time.
No, he cleaned all that stuff up. He's on us,
Question, the trees that are planted between the street and the sidewalk
or the towns.
are the town. And how far from the street into a yard until it's the homeowner's responsibility to
Have
take?
your property surveyed. It varies.
Yeah.
In different streets in different towns, I mean, it varies. Some places in town it's as little as 10 feet, some places as much as 22 feet.
So if you go up here on Meridian, all these trees that are planted between the sidewalk and the street,
They're the towns.
they're the town. So will he be trimming those too? Some?
I mean, I don't have him trimming every tree in town. Which ones you
No,
talking
the
about?
ones that are in the right,
Specifically?
the ones when you drive your van at the side of the road, they hit.
Which house are you talking about?
Slaughter bed.
Let me tell you something about that. We can go ahead and talk about that now because you guys can decide.
Okay.
I got a couple issues there.
I do that.
When Clint Jones left, Alex was still working here.
I know this history of this.
Had Alex, I told him, let's go over and trim some of them limbs off. Well, Alex is not a tree trimmer, so it looked pretty bad. Kevin flips out. And I said, well, Kevin, we gotta do something about these. So, Ron Hamick was here later that year, trimming the trees on Main Street. And I said, man, go over here and hit these things for us. He's like, okay, I'll do it for the same price as these. But those trees were 10 times as big as these. I was like, thanks. Well, Kevin, I said, man, you gotta do something about these trees. Well, obviously, look at them. Nothing's been done, but here's the second issue. He turned around and planted a maple tree. Okay? Those are always Bradford pears. Well, every tree over there is planted without locates. Every one of those trees is on top of a storm drain. And about 2 feet away from that is a gas main. And if you're asking me, I think any type of pear tree, unless the town's gonna take care of it, they're high maintenance trees, should be banned from being planted in town right away. Because we got them around town, people plant this stuff. You know, it's like bushes. Bushes can't be planted in town right away. That's already prohibited in our ordinance.
Well, and all of them that have been cut into the sidewalk here, and now they're heaving the sidewalks.
But they plant these, which, yeah, they should put root barriers on them, but it's, I mean, my thing is, if you don't wanna keep them trees trimmed down to where they need to be, I think they need to be trimmed off the ground, like I said. I already had to root cut that storm sewer that they're all parked right on top of.
Well, and there's
Two-
that willow
two-
down there on
two-
Kaufman too.
Well,
that
that's one I
hangs.
forgot to ask Ron about, because I wanna cut that tree down.
Okay,
I'm gonna get a separate price on that. I meant to include that in when I took him around,
okay.
because that willow tree, those roots are
That
going
wouldn't have been
in.
there if I got it.
They just did it for the
Wilber's still there.
project.
Don't make it have that.
But-
It was
but
little,
they're
he
going-
Waited until it was too big.
They're
for me to
going
let
in
me move it.
that sanitary sewer that's in Kaufman Street. That's one of the ones on the project.
Yeah,
So
those
they-
roots are bad.
They just
bad.
root cut that thing, but no, I do wanna get rid of that willow tree, but I did not. get a price from Ron when he was here. I forgot about that because that's been
I noticed in that big van driving down the side of the roads, I noticed.
No, these three over here, they're bad, and Murray said he was gonna talk to him. I told him I was gonna talk with you, but my thing is, if they're not gonna be kept,
Yeah, because, I mean, they're actually in the town right away, so.
the whole thing is, the whole trees, they're,
Okay,
the whole trees in the
there's
town.
nothing they could do.
Yeah, so let's, yeah.
But they're way out there.
I think what we need to do is send Kevin Slaughterback a courtesy letter telling him that the trees became a nuisance and an issue, and we've had complaints about them, and that they need to be trimmed back to an acceptable distance off the road. And if not, then we'll have to come in and clear them off and take them back as far as we feel necessary. I've talked to Andy about this before. This has been an issue down in Arcadia also. And Andy would like, with my conversation with Andy, would like to come up with an ordinance prohibiting residents from planting trees in the town right of way without approval, written approval, and a certain type of trees. I know, and the issue is everybody wants to plant these Bradford pears and they think they're really nice and they look good and all. For one, you get the problem where they do it without a locate, so they're putting them over the top of your utilities, which creates issues for the town's utility department and drainage and all that, and then they'll come up and complain about drainage, but yet they're the ones that put the tree there, don't realize that there was a tile there because they didn't call it in. And also, if the town would come up with a certain type of tree that is a tall type tree, these Bradford pears, they look nice, but they're a rounded, low type tree that takes their own shape, and they're a low profile tree which impedes vision problems from the intersections. You can't see past them. They hang out in the street because that's the way they grow. They don't grow tall, and there are certain trees that you can put in that have certain root bases that don't heave the sidewalks, and the ones that do, like Andy was saying, they've got a root barrier deal that you can put around those trees and make the roots go down. And we need to come up with an ordinance, I think.
I thought we had done that, possibly the first year. I remember we did this discussion before.
No, we've had discussion
And,
before.
I thought we voted on it, maybe.
We never did come up with anything, and I'd like to make a motion, Andy comes up with some language and whatnot, and give it to Aaron to put some type of ordinance for trees, prohibiting trees in the town right away. You know, here's another issue. Them Bradford pears, they're not a real hardy tree for this area, and that windstorm, they'll snap them off. The homeowners put them out there, they don't want you touching, they don't want you to, they want them left alone, they want them to keep their natural shape and everything, and like I say, you can't see around them, they hit vehicles and all that, and then as soon as the wind breaks them off out in the middle of the street and a storm in the middle of the night, well, who's out there cleaning it up? And now it's a town street. They want to know when you're coming to get it. And we have that issue numerous times down there, and, I'm all in favor of people planting trees, but, you want to plant a tree, put it on your property. If you want it out in the right of way, which, trees out in between street and sidewalk do make the town look better, makes people's property look better, but it needs to be the right type of tree, and I think they need to be approved by the town and be the proper type of tree for the application. And, be planted where there's no utilities and stuff that's gonna be causing an issue there. If you ever need to go in there and that tile breaks down, you're gonna have to cut the trees down to get to the tile or gas line or whatever, There's gonna be no choice about it, it's just gonna happen. And whatever utility has the issues, the one's gonna go in there and cut his tree down. And I think we need to send Kevin a letter and just explain about the drainage tile that's there, the gas line and everything, and, let him know that it became an issue. And they really need to come down.
Those trees are smack dab on that tile, because I ran that tile. I had Fluid Waste run that tile and actually found out where it's broke. I ran it from Indiana to Broadway. It ended up going at it from both directions, but it's broke in front of Jay Catt's house. I got it marked on the driveway out there where the break actually is at. It's going to be dug up, because that goes from down there on the corner. It takes the two drains that are down on Broadway and run them over to Indiana, and they go from Indiana up to Main Street out,
Well, Kevin's tree in question, if you even trimmed it to where it was even with the road pavement, where the sidewalk starts, you've taken a considerable amount of that tree, and I think it'd be wise for him, and I agree with John. We need to send him a letter. Something needs to be done.
You need to send a letter, but I think it should be from you because he's got a thing with Andy.
All that stuff out.
Okay.
It's,
That was going to be my question. Should the letter come from me?
I think so because he's got a thing with Andy because
Okay. Yeah, I can send that letter.
You know, they're pretty nice looking trees at this point. Like I say, they're a nuisance. They're out in the street, and they need. And by the time you turn them back to where they need to be, they're going to be hacked, and they're not going to look right.
Kevin
We
keeps-
paid to have them trimmed and brought down to size in 2011. The town paid for that.
And I don't think if you trim them down to get them back away from the street and the side and everything, I think they'd either kill them or they're going to be looking so bad that
part of the problem-
he ain't going to want them left.
Part of the problem with those are that they weren't caught early, and if you look at them, they got a lot of limbs that are even within like a couple feet of the ground. You know what I mean? There's so many, and they're big. I mean, there's limbs that big that are that far off the ground where it's split. But no, I have had some other complaints about those. So.
All right. Anything else?
We approved that on the tree trimming.
Yep.
Hammy
Did I hear a motion on
I made a motion on that.
Is there a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Get with Robin when she gets back and
Yeah, well,
figure it out.
Do we want to add those trees on there if Kevin ain't going to do anything, and that willow tree, see what Ron would charge, and if the money's available, go ahead and take care of those? I know both these trees areas are issues.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
issues
I mean, I'm
with
just
hitting
ballparking this
traffic.
based on Ron's other prices. I'm guessing that willow tree is probably going to be about $350 or $400. Probably $350.
He might give us a better price. I mean, that's a real reasonable price anyway. But you know, with him already in town doing this, he might do it even
makes sense.
a little better. But if we've got the funds available, I think we ought to go ahead and include those if he gives us a
Yeah, one of the
price that we
trees,
can-
one of the ones I'm cutting down is the one in front of the post office. It's all but dead.
Okay.
And then the other one, it's a big one. It's down on Broadway. There's dead cottonwood.
Oh boy.
Next door to be right south of Sam Muller's house. It's a big one. I mean, it's 50, 60 foot tall, and there ain't one single leaf on it. If you go down there and look at it, it's probably about that big around at the base. But I mean, it's totally dead.
Andy, that one down on Indiana, I think is a willow, it looks like it's dead now. Is that still on town property or is that on?
Down at the government house.
Yes,
Yeah.
on Indiana. Have you noticed that? It looks like it's dead.
I'll pull my map out. I've got a survey down there. I don't think it is. I've got we had that. I'll have to get the map out. We had that surveyed when we did a stormwater project. So I'll have to look and see. I'll let you know though.
Is any old business tonight we need to discuss? Okay. New business. Roberta?
Yes, I'm with the Friends of the Library.
Okay.
I'm the secretary. Anyway, they're next year Atlanta Library's gonna be 100 years old, and they wanna have a big party and,
Sure.
you know, celebrate and things like that. And they need a moneymaker. So I told them about our street dances. And would it be possible for us to do a street dance for the Friends of the Library?
Don't see why not.
Okay.
break out the booze and the dancing girls.
We gotta dance, girl.
BYOG.
But we was thinking about the last Saturday in August, like it always used to be. If you wanna do that.
And,
Well, that way it's near the end of summer and it's not really
let's see, August. Would that be this year or next year?
This year,
This year.
because we'll need the money for next summer.
So it'd be the 28th of August.
28th or 29th, whatever, Saturday.
29th, I'm sorry, 28th on a Friday, 29th of August.
Yeah,
And where you always had it,
Yeah.
right there in front of the,
between the alley and
Uh-huh.
railroad.
I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but I think that's,
That's a great idea.
I do too, I like it. I miss them.
No problems with it.
I miss them.
This one.
always have a good turnout for that.
Yeah.
You have in the past.
And I figure with the library, we probably draw a lot of people from Cicero.
Sure, sure. Okay.
But they want to have cake and souvenirs and they, and, you know, try and encourage people to come to the library. We're going to put Indiana history, or Atlanta history inside.
They mentioned anything at all about opening up the library that night?
Yeah.
Or having
They're going
some,
to give tours if you want to come in, you know.
have some activities down there?
It's too bad they didn't have $100,000 they could build a ramp, so the older people can get in there, that's the bad thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Get a grant.
Number 10, it would be to take it off the historical registry.
Well, if you watched how you put it, I think, maybe. Put an elevator. And that'll work. So then we can go ahead with our plans then? Okay.
Do you have an idea of the times?
Well, let's see, we start serving at 6, and then go to whenever the pies and ice cream run out, and then it'd be over by 9:30, 10 probably.
Say
it don't
10
rain.
o'clock, just to be safe.
If it don't rain.
6 to 10,
Yeah.
okay.
Till curfew time.
Yeah, it's living on Saturday night.
Send the kids home and the folks can stay all night. Keep the party going.
Kids in our neighborhood don't know what curfew means.
Isn't that the truth?
Oh,
That's why they abandoned it.
Any other new business?
Don't have anything.
About this utility adjustment?
Yeah. You see how much it's for?
Where is that?
$5.51.
You're kidding. That's it?
Yeah.
They're upset over $5.
We had another one. I told Rob not to even give it to you.
My bill is $180. I think those remote meters are wrong. I can't imagine what the next month's gonna be. $180 water bill.
I had 179.
I'm gonna
179.
quit showering, folks. I hate to tell you.
Shower now?
I can't afford to take a bath.
Submarine bath. Turn the water on, get wet, turn it off, soap up, turn the
See
water
me out
back
there.
on, rinse.
Jump in your pool.
I'm glad we don't have local patrol. I'll be out there in a swimming pool taking a bath.
Nighttime.
Look the other way as you drive by. Heck no, I don't care. I come home from work. It's time for bed.
Oh.
Well, do I hear a motion that we sign the claims and adjourn the meeting?
I move we sign the claims and adjourn the meeting.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Third, fourth.
Meeting adjourned.